6:03, we're going to call this meeting to order. Welcome everybody who's joining us in person and online. At this time, I'd ask to determine that we do in fact have a quorum. I believe we have 5 board members present in person, and I see Lori is online, and is Will? And Will is joining us remotely. And I'll ask now that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's it. We remain standing for a moment of silent prayer and reflection. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to read our vision statement. Empowering, inspiring all students to achieve their full potential. Our mission statement is Wimberley ISD is dedicated to excellence in education that fosters a culture of kindness and respect, creates lifelong learners, and empowers students to make a positive impact in their community. We believe that everything that we do should help ensure the success of all of our students. As educators, we maximize class time in an engaging and challenging way. Our teachers are personally invested in our students. Students in Wimberley are committed to community service, and the community supports students in return. Quality public Wimberley ISD education drives the future of a successful Texas. As a district, we strive to meet the needs of the whole child, academically, emotionally, and socially. Wimberley ISD provides the foundation to create engaged citizens who will become lifelong learners. All of our children, parents, faculty, and staff should be treated with kindness and respect. We are committed to excellence in all we do. The WISD goals: achieve excellence in education, foster a culture of kindness and respect, create lifelong learners, make a positive community impact. At this time, I'd like to move to item number 1 on our agenda, which is administer officer's statement and oath of office to newly elected board members. It's my understanding that the statement has been signed by our newly elected board members, and that the two of you, Lexi Jones and Ken Strange, are going to go ahead and take your oath together. So have you stand and do that, please.
Yes. We say aye.
I, Lexi Jones,
I, Ken Strange, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of office of WISD School Board Trustee, place number 7.
place 6.
Yes. The state of Texas, and will to the best ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of the state, so help me God.
Good job. That might be one of the harder things you do as a board member.
Yeah.
Get that together. Lexi, welcome. And welcome back. Good to have you both. So now we move to item number 2, which is the election of board officers. And at this time, we would open the floor for nominations.
I make a motion that we continue on with President Joe Malone. So I would like to nominate Joe for president of WISD board.
Second that.
This is Lori. Is Joe interested in continuing as president, or?
We turned her down. It's really difficult to understand.
I'll do it if it's the will of the board.
Well, I'm just asking because I thought y'all had talked about maybe you and Tracy swapping spots, but that was a couple of months ago, so I don't know where you landed on that.
Do we have a second to the motion?
You did?
Motion and a second. Rob made the motion, Ken seconded. discussion?
Thanks, Joe.
Do we have another nomination?
Can we go ahead and nominate other people to do all the officer positions, just so we can do it in one fell swoop? Like, I would nominate Tracy to continue as vice chair and Rob, if he wants to continue as secretary.
I was gonna do it one at a time, but we could do it that way. I guess we'd have to take a motion on that. We'd have to amend the motion.
I'll offer an amendment to that regard.
I'd rather not do it that way.
I'll second that,
What, the amended?
the amended motion.
So the motion is I'll serve as president, Tracy as vice president, and Rob as secretary. And there's a second on that motion. Okay.
We can either, so is what is happening now, you can do it as a group, which Tracy seconded,
Yeah.
or we can do it.
Right. Well, we have to vote on the motion now. It's been amended and seconded.
We got an amended motion on the table. So
There's also discussion that can happen now.
yeah, we're having discussion. So so the motion was originally just the motion for the president position. It was amended, we're having discussion. So any further discussion on that?
My preference echoes Ken's, is that it's done separately. I don't see any harm in that.
We've also done it previously this way.
We can do it
Yeah.
different last year.
Well, if we are trying to save time, we already wasted that proposition, so.
Well, all right, we'll vote on the motion as amended. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, let's see, how many do we have?
That's four.
That's four. Okay. All opposed? 3, motion passes. So there's our officers.
Thanks, everybody, for serving.
Thank you all.
And also, I just want to say hi and welcome to Lexi. Look forward to meeting you soon.
Hi.
Good. All right. We're going to move over to item number 3, which is that we have no public comments that have been submitted. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great. And so we'll move over to item number 4, our consent agenda. We've got items A through G on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Well, I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda minus item 4D because Ken was not here for that one.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we got a kind of an amended motion then to approve the consent agenda less item D. We have a second.
A second.
Okay, Rob will second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand.
You can
No,
vote
you
on
can't
this
vote.
one.
Oh, I can
This
vote
one,
on that.
you can't vote on the next one.
On the next one, I can.
Okay, that looks unanimous. Laura, you raising your hand?
Yeah, I did.
All right, that's unanimous. And we have another motion.
I would move that we approve consent agenda item 4D.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion on that. All in favor, raise your right hand. And then we got one abstention. Ken, right?
Yes.
Okay. That motion passes. Item number 5, our bond update. I see Mr. Bob Farmer's joined us. Bob, the floor is yours.
Try to find a free spot here. I'm running out of things to tell you all. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
So I'll start with Scudder. We have one item pending at Scudder. We're building a door to separate the alternative placement area from the rest of the school. That has been framed in and waiting on the actual door and the hardware. We expect that, I think it's shipping today or this week, and we'll install it next week. And that'll wrap up the Danforth and the Scudder project. At the primary school, we're very close to finishing the millwork. That's the big issue. In fact, they should be done this week for sure. Latter part of the week, we'll punch it out. We've got 50 or 60 really good people to help us punch it. So we ought to get all the comments back to us by the end of this week, and next week we'll make any of those adjustments. We have a couple other little things at the primary school that are still pending. We're working on the house demo and the asbestos abatement, trying to get some extra prices for that. Prices just seem a little high to me. Once we get that done, we'll schedule that work, and hopefully we'll plan to do that work over the Christmas holiday if we get that done. There's a couple of added water hydrants required around the back of the building. That'll be done over one of the 2 holidays coming up.
I'm sorry, which building at the Blue Hole
I'm at
project?
the primary, okay, yes, sir. We need a couple extra water hydrants around the backside. And we have an allowance in the contract with Bartlett for some educational graphic displays in a couple areas of the building. Those are in design right now, and we'll keep it within that allotted allowance. The other couple of projects, the athletic storage building, I think the first week of December, we should have the civil drawings resolved. We're working through drainage issues. There was an engineering drainage study. It's kind of district-wide. It's pretty old. We don't want to redo it. It would cost more to redo that drainage study than it's going to be to build this little storage building. They think they've got to work around there, and if we get the drawings in early December, then we'll go out to bid on that building. So just kind of a note for the future, we're kind of reached the capacity of the district where we've got the maximum amount of pervious cover. We may have to revisit drainage for future projects within this core area right here. So that's something just to keep in mind.
Bob, can I ask a question on that? Does that include the additional property we've purchased?
Well, when we looked at that property, there's room on that property for any kind of potential concern, but it seemed like the property was big enough to handle it. So, problem we're getting into some of these areas where we're trying to tuck little buildings, there's not enough room to do a lot of stormwater detention. So, I don't know. I can't swear that it's not an issue, but that's something we'll have to be looking at.
Thank
you. We also have to relocate the playground from Scudder. I forgot to mention that. We're waiting on delivery of the perimeter edging. We'll probably do that work in the early part of December. And that's really all I have. Mr. Santiago and I will meet right after Thanksgiving, try to reconcile all the final numbers and things.
The surface that we end up with at the old Scudder playground equipment coming over, I know y'all were working that out.
It'll be a wood chip surface. Trying to find the best place. The most economical place is to put it in that grassy area. It's to the west of the building because we wouldn't have to add fence. If we put it back in behind the existing fence, and we'd have to extend fence around the new playground. So we think we can modify the sprinkler systems there and set it in kind of in amongst some of those trees for shade. It's a good little spot for it. So that's kind of the favorite area right now, but we haven't resolved that. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Bob. Any questions for Bob?
Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. We're going to move down to item 6, which is our report section. And we have a health and safety report, I think. Did I see one?
Yeah.
Sure. Do we go? Okay. Good. That's for review. And so no action needed there. We're going to move to item number 6B, which is our CFO's report. And we have Mr. Moises Santiago, our CFO, with us. And we'll ask you to report on those items, please.
Well, good afternoon. I'll be reporting on the month activity for the month of October. And we are currently at 0.17 of the budget year. And our cash and investment balances as of the end of the month, we're looking at 13.9 million. General fund makes about 45% of that, which is equivalent to 6.3. Capital projects, 31%, which is equivalent to 4.2 million. This is close to the amount that we had in excess for or allocated for the excess projects that we've been talking about or working on. We currently have an unaudited ending fund balance estimated at 8.7 million as of for the end of the last fiscal year. This is still unaudited, so it could change, but it will remain close to that figure. That's an increase of at least $500,000 from the previous year. So that's good to finish off the year, especially in the current environment that we're with right now. The general fund has collected 3.7 million, 3.7%, sorry, which is close to $1 million. Our taxes are still low. They have kind of hit the lowest in the compared to the previous years. I contacted the appraisal district, and they said that due to the COVID days that they were out and all that, the tax notices were barely going to be sent this week. So we should start to see some tax revenue coming beginning next month. So we'll see some increase there in that area. The general fund has collected 14%, equivalent to 150. The nutrition program, sorry, has collected 14% of the budget, and we spent 150,000. Meals served are still low compared to previous years. Little by little, they're still starting to increase. The debt service collected 0.2%, which is about 13,000. We've spent only in administrative fees. Our debt service payments are in February and August. We also have some, let's see, the next page right there, we have our proprietary funds, which are the Scudder, Jacob's Well, and the tuition-based programs. We do have some revenues or resulting profits at the end of the month of 19,000, 11,000, 66,000 in those programs respectively. Our tax collections are for the month are only 35,000 at this point. Total tax levy collected is 0.16. Our student ridership is still little by little starting to increase, although not as much as compared to the previous years. Just FYI, on the item that you all just approved a moment ago, you all approved an increase to the deficit budget. Keep in mind that when we adopted this current budget, we adopted it with almost $500,000 or $500,000 due to the increase in salaries for the kids. With the purchase of the land, we increased that by 600,000. So if you look at your budget amendment handout, you'll see the increase right there by 614,000. So we will be operating for the next until the next coming months with a deficit of 1.1 million. This is still not counting any attendance increase in funding that we are anticipating.
But we are monitoring enrollment, bi-weekly, monthly, daily. Just making sure that we don't have any withdrawals. We are up in student enrollment, I'd say 30 plus kids, which is,
Last year?
been beneficial. Well, from what we
Started the year with.
what we adopted is enrollment for our budget. Okay. So that's going to help tremendously. The other thing that's so frustrating is all of the expenditures due to COVID, and many of these, at least 50, 60% of these expenditures were supposed to be refunded, and they're not being refunded. And so we're picking up that cost. But we're talking about feeding kids and doing the right thing. So it's not like we didn't do the right thing, but we will not be refunded for those.
Were those supposed to be refunded from the Department of Education?
Part of it was supposed to be funded from through the CARES grant.
Right.
A lot of it was not unallowable expenses according to FEMA. So the good thing is that this purchase that we did in technology, close to 30,000, will get reimbursed through TEA CARES funding. 75% will be covered, and the county did allocate 30,000, which we should have received a check sometime this week for the school district as CARES funding. So anything that we can get to recover some of those funds definitely helps. But yeah, we did not get much funding except for last year that we also received about 170,000 from the Department of Emergency. So we already are accounting for that in our budget.
So in our budget, I'm sorry, I have one more question. You say we're up about 30 students. If we plug that number of students into the budget calculations according to the budget we adopted, are we still running? Would we be running at a deficit, or would we be good?
We will be offsetting some of the deficit right now, and just on this increase that we are looking at right now in the ADA, we are seeing about 30,000 increase in the state funding, but in the recapture portion, that's your biggest hit. We are decreasing the recapture by almost close to $1 million.
Okay.
Just those 30 kids.
Yes.
That's why that is so
That is
critical.
great. So as long as we keep this attendance percentage, to keep in mind that when we adopted the budget, we adopted it at 95.3% attendance. We are currently, for the first 6 weeks and second 6 weeks, we're averaging 98.3%. So if we keep that up, we'll definitely be able to offset a huge distance.
And please remember, the state is holding us harmless for
Yes.
any attendance rate below 96% through this first semester. So second semester is very critical. This is why we're moving. That's why we propose the asynchronous move. We want to keep a virtual option available for our kids. But that attendance rate could make up quite a bit of the deficit that we're looking at. So
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question also? Moises, you said that our tax collection was down.
Yes.
Isn't November and December typically low months for
Sir,
tax collection?
this year it has hit the lowest.
Okay.
Yes, compared to previous.
Okay.
Last year we did have the same issue, but it was because of a new employee.
Yeah.
There at the appraisal district, but this year is mainly as a result of.
Yeah, Hayes County is one of the only places where the bills haven't come out yet. So, I mean, that's just a factor of the fact.
Yeah.
Hayes County tax bills haven't come out. I think our collections will be fine once they come out, don't you?
Yeah, we hope so. Yeah. Just kind of think positive.
Moises, anything else?
No, that's my October report.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to move over to Mr. York's superintendent's report.
So during all the COVID stuff, we still need to remember legislation is fixing to begin very quick. And so the Senate Education Committee already met on November 13th. And the major topics of discussion, first of all, was digital learning. And many school districts voiced their opinion that the Texas School Virtual Network it's not developed to do year-round virtual learning. And so many school districts have taken on this, and they're finding that they're having to add additional funding, enrollment versus attendance. allow districts, we really need to allow districts to determine which students can participate in online learning. That's already happened through TEA, and have some criteria as to how long they stay with online learning, given the factors of attendance, not turning in work, just not participating at all. And so that's something that the Senate did, discuss. However, with Dallas ISD, they thought it was a great program. So we're going to be battling once again, small district versus large on what that looks like. House Bill 3, it's all over the place. The bottom line for us is we need funding equivalent to House Bill 3. So many different issues. The small and mid-sized school allotments are very big for us. And what did that's now within the formula. It's no longer a designated allotment. That happened to us this year. So that's one thing that we really need to be fighting for. The House Bill 3906 is all over the place too. It deals with moving forward with state assessment. And then special ed, they brought up several concerns. One of the major concerns was brought up by Kristen McGuire and Disabilities Rights. TEA is collecting crisis code data, but there hasn't been a drill down to students with disabilities. He did state that in the spring, districts and charters lost contact with 9,000 students with disabilities, and over 18,000 were lost in May. So special ed is a huge concern during this virtual learning time. Instruction during COVID, there were so many varieties that I could go on for hours. Many of the districts closest to us have started seeing a rise in their on-campus learning. And then one other issue that really needs to be considered, and that's the state comptroller's his quote is, Texas faces a looming $4.6 billion deficit. That's his projection at this point. And he says, our forecast assumes restrictions on business and people will be lifted before the end of the calendar year. So that 4.6 is based on all the businesses and all these, restrictions by the end of the calendar year. But that economic activity will not return to pre-pandemic levels until the end of this biennium. And so that's a little concerning, especially whenever you talk about the entire state budget. One thing that he did stress, and this is capitalized in this article, states, oil, Fed, economic stabilization fund. In other words, our rainy day fund exists because of state oil, and we'll have an ending balance of roughly $8.8 billion at the end of the 2021 fiscal year if lawmakers don't tap into this. Well, I can't imagine them not tapping into that. So anyway, just getting prepared for that, that first session in January. And anyway, that's my report. I need to stop right there.
A lot going on in the legislature. Okay. Any questions? Anything else?
You did get my report. It is so awesome to see our kids start returning to some level of normalcy. I mean, being at the volleyball game, being at the football game, our debate team is number 1 and number 2 in the state. I mean, these are things that kids live for every single day. I went to the tennis match. Oh my gosh, 10-9. I mean, we were right there for hours and hours. but they're competing, they're having fun. We've got to get back to this. We really do. We've got some issues with some of our kids that we're trying to address right now. But this is the key, getting back to school, getting back to some level of normalcy. So that's one of the highlights of this month, is just watching our kids get back to doing the things that they really love.
Could you touch for a moment on just the follow-up on the transition plan as we transition to the
So
in-person and the synchronous?
each principal has literally reached out to every single asynchronous learner that has been successful. And so it looks a little different at the junior high than it does at high school, than it does at Jacobs Well. And so there are 3 awesome plans in place. The most critical, of course, for graduation is the high school. Jason and Wendy, his entire team, have met with these parents individually. We have 4 students who have been very successful with literally holding down a job and proceeding with asynchronous. 2 of these young men, one will graduate in December, the other one will graduate in January. And then we have a fast track for 2 other individuals that will possibly be able to graduate early. So I really do appreciate that work. And then, like I said, Greg and Sue-Ann have been doing an excellent job with those meetings. And it's with the kids that have been successful. A lot of this has to do with connectivity. Say both parents work at home and 3 kids are there, and they don't have enough Wi-Fi bandwidth to support that kind of activity during the course of the day. But they're meeting with our parents and letting them know that, you know, we're recording these synchronous lessons. They can get on for the 10 or 15 minutes of instruction, maybe enough to get them through the assignment, but then they can go back and review that if they're missing something. And so it's allowing our parents some flexibility to move around the connectivity issue.
Yeah, sounds like it's been well received, both by our parents and students and also by our teachers.
I think they have. I think it has.
Great. Thank you for the update on that. All right, we'll move down to 6D, which is our report, or my report. The agenda calendar. There's a process, and kind of tell this to Lexi since she's new, to add things to our agenda. And you can get with Dottie and Mr. York if you wish to do that. So we look at that. We can always add things in advance of our meetings as long as we kind of do it in a timely way. We're looking at a team building that we are required to do. I think they've extended the date a couple times. Is that right, Dottie?
Yes, we have to have it done by July 31st, 2021.
Oh, okay, July.
July, wow.
Sorry, January.
January.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Like, wow, they really
Okay.
extended it again. Okay.
That's what yeah. Okay.
So I'm thinking that maybe, you know, the holidays get kind of busy and stuff. I would like to propose that we do it like towards the middle of January. Would everybody be available around that time?
Yeah.
What dates?
You know, when is our regular meeting that month?
We moved it to the 25th, I believe, due
Right.
to a holiday. And the
Okay.
Monday before that
Martin Luther
is.
King Day, maybe.
So it
11th.
could be any day other than a Monday.
So our meeting is the 11th?
No, it'll be the 25th.
Oh, 25th. We moved it out. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
You do the team building on the 11th.
We good?
I will not be available. I'm getting married that weekend.
Well, hot dog. What?
Why don't we just celebrate that with some team building?
Awesome.
I was like, what date are we talking?
Yeah, well, we
So
will.
could we have the
Congratulations.
reception or?
Yeah. I can't think of anything more fun to do than team building wedding date. All right, so let's look at the
So you're getting married on the 14th, is that right?
I'm getting married on the 9th.
The 9th, okay.
I would like, say,
Later in that week, I could do it, or thereafter. I would, please ask not before.
no.
10th won't work.
I was looking at like maybe the 20th, which is the Wednesday. Although then we do have a meeting on the 25th.
That would be all right with me. I mean, we got to do it sometime.
Yeah, and we gotta get it in before the end of that month.
And really, we'll be reporting it on the 25th, unless y'all want a special meeting just to report.
Yeah,
those
then we
hours.
could report on the 25th. So
I
we have to
need to
really
get
do
all
it before
the
the
hours in.
25th. I would say maybe the 20th. We have commitment on that. Would that be okay?
20th.
Of January?
I mean, I'd rather not do two, well, I guess that's fine. And then our regular meeting's the week after. Yeah, I could probably do that.
Yes, our regular meeting is the 25th.
Okay.
I could do that.
Okay. well,
How
let-
long does it have to be? 3 hours?
3 hours, yeah.
Yeah, I would think we could put it in here and we'll maybe start at 5:30 and get out at 8:30.
I'm putting it in my calendar.
Okay.
Who's facilitating
Do we get a
We
facilitator in
were
here?
talking, well, we got to talk about what we're going to do for. the-
Yeah, while we're on the subject.
We talked, Dottie brought up us doing the policy
Board policy, all of
Review.
board policy B
and
that
doing,
refers to the board.
what's her name?
Oh, like our board operating,
He's been
Yeah.
talking to
And
Brooke.
Brooke, and bring Brooke.
like just our guidelines that govern us?
Yeah, just the board. Brooke is the one with TASB who did the, y'all did a big review,
before.
your policy review.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other options besides the board policy review?
It can be pretty much whatever. The board policy review is something we do need to do.
I'll find one.
Well, I mean, the last time we did that was several years ago. Were you guys even were you on the board when we did that last?
I was.
We,
I know, I guarantee
we
Ken and
were-
Tracy and I were,
But-
and Lori was.
And Lori was.
But I don't think, so Lexi and Will haven't been part of that. I think it'd be beneficial. I mean, Rob, unless you think of something else. I know it's not the most tantalizing topic, but
Not at all.
it's important.
So.
And do you, when you say board policy, do you mean our board operating procedures? Or not like all policies like we just did?
Yeah, like what governs us as board members. I think it's a
Okay,
Just section B.
section B.
yeah.
Do you have another topic that you would?
Can we carry on and come back to that?
Yeah, we can revisit it. The problem is we're gonna have.
We'll get Brooke lined up.
Yeah, we gotta line up our facilitator, Brooke. She probably can be flexible on the subject matter, right?
Well, she could be flexible maybe on the time if you wanted to maybe cover 2 subjects.
Okay, yeah.
You understand
Do
what
an
I'm
hour and a
saying?
half of that and an
Yeah.
hour and a half of
Yeah,
something
because you
else.
got
That'd be
3
fine.
hours.
Yeah, that might be better. Yeah, we could interject a different, separate topic. Okay, let's see if Brooke is available for Wednesday, January
20th at 5:30.
2021 at 5:30. And then we'll tell her board policy and maybe something else. Okay, great. Right, that's all I have. So item 7 on our agenda is our closed session. And I have to read this, and I'll read this into the record. The board may adjourn into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071. The board may then re-enter into open session for further discussion and necessary action. Deliberations may include security devices or security audits, Texas Government Code Section 551.076 and Section 551.089. Personnel matters, Texas Government Code Section 551.074. New hires, terminations, employee discipline, subcategory. Deliberation regarding real property, Texas Government Code Section 551.072. in consultation with our attorney, Texas Government Code, Section 551.071. The time's 6:43. And we'll ask that we will remain in this room and that anybody who's not on the board, we'll ask y'all to just step out momentarily while we review our closed session agenda, and then we'll invite you back in when we go back into open session. Okay, we're gonna come back into open session following closed session. The time is 7:23. Do we have any action?
I would make a motion that we offer teacher contract to Erin Marie Bauman.
Second.
Second.
We got, I think Ken seconded first.
That's fine.
Might have been the video delay. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? That looks like it's unanimous. Will, maybe? Will, yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous. Any other action?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Adjourned. Third.
Bye, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And you.